In this movie, I want to talk about how to create pivot tables in Excel and then go a little beyond that in creating cross-tabulations. So we have a data set with various restaurants' quality ratings and the price. Now, this is an unwieldy data set. If we want to kind of make sense with it, we can create a pivot table. So with just a basic pivot table, we can maybe see the average pricing within each restaurant category, and we can also look at the count of these restaurants. So to create a pivot table, I'll click anywhere, insert pivot table, and we'll just create the pivot table on a new worksheet. So I'll leave the options open, click on sheet 1. Here I can drag quality rating to rows. This quality rating is our qualitative data. So we have excellent, very good, and good. And we can drag meal price to values. The default is the aggregation by sum, and I can change that by going to value field settings in the options menu and change it to average. So now we get the average restaurant price. This is in several decimal digits. We can change that by making into a currency by selecting this these cells and then going to home and then choosing the option of currency format, or this is also the accounting format. So we have here our average meal prices by each category. We want to see the count. We need to bring in a qualitative field to the view values, and then that will make it into a count. So we can make quality ratings again as another value field. Here, because we had changed the setting to currency, this also takes that currency. I can select this, go to home, and then in the drop down, or I can right click as well, click on the formatting being general, and it reverts it back to just a number. So this is our pivot table, which tells us that we have 66 restaurants of excellent, we have some good, and then we have some very good. So in a hierarchy ranking, excellent kind of makes sense if it's in the bottom. So if I kind of choose excellent and then drag it down, so I can kind of sort it with excellent being at the bottom. We have good, very good, and excellent. Now, if these were alphabetical, then I could have just sorted it based on just the alphabetical arrangement, but alphabetical will not make sense because excellent is 1, and then good comes in between, and then very good. So we can do a manual sort. Now this is good if we just want to see a pivot table, and as our column we have the average price or we have the number of restaurants. But suppose I want to go beyond that. I want to not just do a display of the counts, but maybe I want to create categories of various meal prices and then see how much of each, how many restaurants are in each combination of row and cell. So that's a cross tab in which we have one variable appearing as rows and the other one appearing as columns. So we'll make meal prices as a column. Again, we'll start by inserting a pivot table, and we'll keep it in a new sheet again. I click on new sheet. And like before, quality rating as our rows. And now we will make meal price as our column. Now when we see this, this is looking rather outlandish because we have every single price for a restaurant appears as a single value, but this may not make sense. We may want to combine restaurants from, let's say, $10 to $19, and then 20 to 29, and then 30 and more. So we can do that very easily. This is called grouping the values. I can right click on any of these cells, and then it gives me the option of group. So I click on group, and then Excel asks me the starting value, the ending value, and then grouping by 10. The default options seem reasonable. We want $10 increments, so click OK. And now we have 10 to 19, 22 to 29, and 30 to 29, and then above 40. So this is a cross tabulation, but now I want to populate it with the values. I can move in restaurants, but these are numbers, or even if I move quality rating, because this is a categorical variable, this will come in as a count. So, and then I can also format this to mean dollars. So I can go to home and then click on dollars. So we have the cross tab telling us that we have 2 restaurants in the good category with this price range. But in general, restaurants in the good category. Now again, alphabetically, sorting doesn't work, but I can just move this field down in the bottom. So now we have good, very good, and excellent. So we have 42 lower priced restaurants in the good category, but we have 22 high priced restaurants in the excellent category. So cross tabulation helps us slice our data 2 ways, and it's a pretty powerful technique when we want to dig deeper into our data. A simple pivot table is pretty good, but we couldn't see how our data is disaggregated. We just got these summary averages. But now slicing it by price categories as well as quality ratings tells us a clear picture that there isn't any restaurant which is good and whose price is in the high price category. But there are a couple of good bargains, that 2 restaurants were excellent and are in the lower price category. So hopefully this clarifies how to create simple pivot tables, and then going deeper, creating cross tabulations. And then more importantly, how we can group discrete values to create categories in a cross tabulation. And as we saw, Excel offers us the choice of grouping based on the interval, the starting point, and the ending point. So it's a pretty powerful tool and very intuitive in the way we want to create these groupings of quantitative variables and make them into categories or bins. Now, just a second little aside, if I wanted to see these as shares or percentages, we could go change on value field setting and then change the view, show value as, and instead of no calculation, I can say percentage of grand total. So now this tells me the percentage overall of each of these restaurants belonging in their specific row and column intersection or specific cell. So this gives us the percentage. We can get the raw values. We can also get them side by side too. So if I bring in quality rating again, and then I get the count as well as the percentage. So we get the frequency as well as the relative frequency for each of these cells. And we can just move that out if you want to just get frequency. A relative frequency, we get this, and I can replace this with just a count to get my frequencies.